trying to achieve SDG. So if you have a little information about SDG have 169 targets, and they have 17 goals, 169 target. They have 239 unique indicators. I think it's 239 indicators. Okay. When the team at IUM was doing the roadmap, SDG roadmap for Malaysia, okay, we look at all the indicators and we look at all the goals. Okay. Some of the SDG we don't agree. Okay, because when we look at SDG, there are the things that are not compatible with Islam. So when we talk about SDG, we are looking at something that are compatible with our culture, something that are compatible with our religion, something that are compatible with our legal systems. Okay, so that is what was stressed when we do the SDG roadmap. If you look at all the indicators, and when we try to convince the ministry, why is it that we need to go into this SDG? Because SDG is a tool. The indicators is a tool for development. Okay, all the indicators are tools for sustainable development. It's going to help the countries to see what are the things that they have to they have to achieve. Because if you look at all the indicators, there are a lot of indicators, and there are a lot of trade-off when we talk about the indicators. Okay, so when we talk about environment and we talk about economic growth, sometimes, okay, in order for us to achieve growth, we have to destroy the environment. So the indicators help us to see where we need to go. Okay, so hopefully with Islamic social finance, and hopefully with the discussions that we are going to have, we will be able to assist us a little bit, to assist all of us, okay, to see, okay, how can Islamic finance contribute to these sustainable development goals. In the SDG roadmap phase 2 report from Malaysia, what I wrote is what was said by the Sultan of Perak. Okay, Malaysia have many states, okay, and all of the state have a king, okay, have a sultan. So what Sultan of Perak say, if let's say we are talking about halal industry, okay, if all our industry are halal, he talk about industry of chicken. Okay, so if the chicken industry is halal, okay, the financings have to be halal. The chickens that is going to be reared, it's not just halal, it is also tayyib. Okay, and if you are talking about IIUM, some time ago, KFC, the Kentucky Fried Chicken, tried to have a cooperation with IIUM. Okay, but the rector of IIUM at that time say no. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do, we have to make sure that KFC is not just halal, but it is also good. Okay, so for 1 year, some of the researchers at IIUM have to do a study with KFC to see whether KFC is good or bad. Okay, we know it is halal because they have the halal logo. Okay, but in the end, the conclusion is that so when you eat KFC, you cannot eat too much lah. If you eat too much, then it's going to harm you. So you have to be you have to take into consideration how much you want to. You cannot eat KFC every day. Okay, you may want to eat once a month or once a week, so that it is not going to be harmful. It is harmful when you eat too much. Okay, and the same thing for a lot of things, like if you eat too much rice, it is not good for you. If you drink too much sugar, it is not good for you. So you have to find the balance. So in the end, what is the balance? So the same thing when you talk about developments. Okay, so that's why we have the word sustainable development, because sustainable development is talking about balance. Okay, growth and environment, growth and social development. So we need to find where is the balance. So what SDG is trying to do is trying to find where is the balance. You and know, and everyone know, we want to achieve growth. But in trying to achieve growth, we have to make sure that the growth is sustainable. We want to make sure that the growth will not increase the inequality that you have in the economy. So I guess nak suruh cakap panjang lagi boleh lagi. Okay, so anyway, I need to give it to the speakers. Thank you for inviting us to be here. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Professor, for such an enlightenment to us. That's new information as well for me. Yeah, in this perspective of KFC should be not only halal but also tayyib. So let's move on to our next agenda. It will be a semi-formal or informal discussion related to Islamic social finance and sustainable development goals for community well-being. I would like to invite speakers from both sides. From Indonesia, we have Dr. Isra Ahmad Shah, and also I'd like to invite Dr. Asmi. Please come forward to the stage, Doctor, from Malaysia. So since this is an informal session, so we just want to have 5 or 10 minutes presentation from each of you. Started from Dr. Isra Ahmad Shah, please. Time is yours.
Jazakumullah khairan, Pak Riza, Mr. Riza. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I would like the operator to show the slide, please. Pak Jo, tampilkan. Okay, right. This is just the idea coming from my mind. The title of this, the urgency of Gampong. Gampong is a village. Most Qardul Hasan funds in reducing poverty. Okay, as we know, there are many problems, of course, in the Muslim life. At least we know from the largest Muslim populations, Indonesia is a first rank, with 203. No, it's about 203 millions Muslim, but total population it will be 270 million. Okay, and second one coming Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, and every Muslim side until the Saudi. For the second, for this, what do you call this side? Of course, we know the percentage poverty living below poverty line. Okay, and we don't have on the list Indonesia because it's coming up. But of course, Indonesia is having 19% right now, the poverty rate. And we know this is one of the target of the 17 goals of HDC. There is no poverty. So how do we manage, especially in the village? And if you look at the Indonesia's conditions, the above line is the rural poverty, and the blue one is the urban poverty. And from all the 34 provinces in Indonesia, if you look at Aceh, Aceh is the second from the left, yeah, Sumatra and then Aceh. So Aceh was like the fourth highest poverty rate in Indonesia. Well, the first one is Irian Jaya. Irian Jaya is the West Papua, you know, Papua, which is near to Papua New Guinea. Though they are very rich in terms of natural resources, the gold, the mines and everything, but in terms of welfare, they are very low. Well, of course, it is the problem of having mismanaged, of course. So if you look at the efforts to reduce poverty, of course, we already know how the Islamic microfinance has done so far, the Islamic banks, the Baitul Mal, even the Waqaf institutions. But in my idea now, today, I'd like to introduce you what is the Gampong Mosque Qardul Hasan Fund. Well, Gampong is a village, it's the smallest area of the government. In Indonesia, it is the smallest area. In Malaysia, I don't know what we call. Gampong also, Kampong, Kampong, in here we call it Gampong. Normally it is led by the Kecil. Kecil is the leader of the Gampong, of the village. And every village, usually mosque is a central part of the residents to perform prayer together, Jama'ah. Some kampong or some village, they do have more than one mosque, but normally they will have one big mosque. They call it Masjid Jami for every village. So considering the function of the Gampong Mosque, which is not only a place of worship, but also the center of governments and village policy making, then the mosque of Aceh could become the center of economic empowerment. And as it is done in many places in the area. Mosques have a Qadrul Hasan Fund, so mosques have a Qadrul Hasan Fund. The aim is to help people who need emergency funds. You can manage by the mosque cooperative. If the mosque has a cooperative, then it will be better for them to have this idea. Then the Gampong Mosque Qadrul Hasan Funds, operated by officer of the masjid officer. Of course, we do have the, in Indonesia we call it BKM, Badan Kepengurusan Masjid. Yeah, okay. Normally it is the people who manage makmur for the masjid. So the funding mechanism, the financing mechanism, collecting mechanism, of course the issue of sustainability. Then we know the funding sector as the funding mechanisms. The main source of the funds collect comes from the categories, namely, well, first of all is Qadrul Hasan Fund from the internal Jama'ah, from the village. And then other people's infaq or hibah grant as external fund. And then the Gampong Mosque Qadrul Hasan Fund's box charity. And you might be familiar with this because the Akhwat microfinance already done this and very success. And from the administrative cost of from the borrowers. So from the funding mechanism, Qadrul Hasan Fund from Jama'ah could be in the form of donations, but also it could be from the lending, from the Qadrul Hasan itself. So I would like to propose if you could have like from the rich people of the village to give Qadrul Hasan for 10 to 20% of their savings, while the rest, 80%, they could be still used for their own investment, their own precautionary condition, everything. So the inflow from the external, of course, those who pass by to the mosque and looking for the programs and interested to donate, they could also donate for the fund. Then the box charity, as you know, those who are borrowers coming from the villages, of course, avoiding them from the rentenir, or from the, what do you call it, rentenir, yeah? And also for, avoiding from this, we call in Indonesia pinjol, pinjaman online, or online borrowing, online loans. So having this, hopefully they will be safe, they will be taken care, yeah? And of course, if we could give them, say for 2 million, yeah? Sometimes here in Indonesia, some teachers, they got online, what they call loans. They just borrow 2 million, but they end up paying for 28 million. Yeah. So of course, the last one coming from the administrative cost for borrowers of funds coming from the real payment of administrative, except for the people or for the borrowers who having loan a bit higher, where the administrative, what do you call, officer has to collect many times. And every time they collect, of course, it will involve costs. Yeah? So those who are having like this, they have to pay more. Yeah? Then the financing mechanism, the amount of Qadrul Hasan given depends on the total amount of raise in the funding sector. Then the borrower selected by the team, the advantage is the team knows better the character of the villagers because it is their own villagers. Yeah? In terms of character, capacity of the borrowers. So hopefully by having this advantage, the problem of asymmetric informations and adverse selections as well as default payment could be reduced. Yeah? Then the financing goes on with the team doesn't require collected but collateral. Yeah, this system mechanism doesn't require collateral, but instead of having just trust. But of course the borrowers must have to be trustworthy to pay back for the loan. Yeah? In order to be more trustworthy, the Qardul Hasan funds are given from the congregation. Yeah, yeah. Like in the case like Akhwat, they do distribute this fund in front of the Jum'ah. Yeah, so people have a moral collateral instead of social collateral as the Grameen Bank has done. Then every week there will be a session for spiritual upliftment. Yeah, there are some cases. Yeah, when the borrowers reluctant to present themselves in the spiritual activities, yeah, it shows indicating potential default payment. Yeah. There's one Islamic microfinance here in Aceh. Yeah. They give Qardul Hasan, and every week they request them to come for the spiritual upliftment program. But when they see some borrowers are reluctant to come, that in the indicating will be some default payment will happen to them. Yeah. So at least they will do some more activities for that. Collecting mechanism, collecting the loans could be based on the daily basis or weekly basis, but since there are micro enterprise, daily basis will be preferred. Yeah. The loans funds are collected together with the donation from the charity box. Donation from charity box could be used to support operational costs, such as to pay the team for the Gampong Mosque Qardul Hasan funds. Yeah. Then the issue of sustainability, of course, most Islamic microfinance institutions that rely on the Qardul Hasan scheme will not be able to sustain. This is normally, but looking from the Akhwat experience, yeah, there is one Islamic microfinance in Aceh, Baitul Mishkat, that rely their own product in the Qardul Hasan, but they sustain, they could survive. So in fact, the fund collected from the charity box, yeah, it is equivalent rate to 40 to 50% rather compared to interest rate, yeah, yearly. And the good things for the nation are given sincerely and not imposed in the beginning of the contract. Of course, this is riba. So I think this is all that we can share with you, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan katsiran. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Isra, for the presentation of cases in Indonesia, yeah, related to mostly talking about loans, yeah, that being a trend in Indonesia. Now, before discussion, I would like to invite Dr. Azmi for presenting the intersection of HDG and Islamic finance for community well-being. I think it will be the sample in case in Malaysia. Is it? Yeah. Thank you. Please, Doctor.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to all of you. First of all, thank you very much for the Professor Hafaz for inviting us to this camp. I can say it's a camp basically for 5 days. Okay, and then it's a ad hoc what they call query, not query. It's an ad hoc program by Dr. Hafaz, in which me and the dean this morning, we have to do it our slides in the airport this morning. Okay. Okay. So basically, it's a part of my area of specialization as well. Okay. Basically, I have to rather than what our doctor just now share with you, it's more already specific. My one will be more general and also give the examples what is happening in Malaysia. Okay. The topic is given is intersections of SDG and Islamic finance for community well-being. So as what highlighted by our dean just now, okay. In order to respond to today's sustainable development challenges such as poverty, social inequality, and environmental issues, which exceed the capacity, okay, of the government to solve, there's a need for substantial financing. Okay, basically in order for us to meet the SDG goals, okay, the government, all the government, not only in Malaysia, all the government, including Indonesia, in Bangladesh, okay, everywhere, they need the financing, okay. However, there's a financing gap, okay. According to the OECD latest reports, the annual SDG financing gap in developing countries has increased to 4.2 trillion in 2020, okay. And then many traditional sources of financing has declined tremendously in many countries. okay, as the traditional source of financing, which is coming from the government. Okay, how the government get the money? Either they're printing the money or getting from the tax. Am I right? But you try to imagine. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so there are two ways. Okay, where government can get the money through the one is through the tax. Okay, but when try to imagine that if the tax is start to declining, okay, so what will happen to the revenue for the government? So this way the government cannot meet their financing for the SDGs. So this way the Islamic finance fits in. Okay, so what is the Islamic finance? I think you already know what is Islamic finance. It's considered as a important non-traditional source of the financing for the SDGs, with the global asset of USD for 3.4 trillion in 2020, and its projected aggregate growth of 8% per annum until 2025. And it has to go for the high ethical standard, which is comply with the Maqasid Sharia, and also consider all the well-being of all the stakeholders, okay, including the society and also the environment. Okay, it supports the overall public interest through the minimization of harm, a key guiding principle for the Islamic finance transactions. Okay, okay, basically the SDG can be called, like some they call it as a impact investing, sustainability, social responsibility, responsible investment, and green investment. All this one is basically is related to the SDG, which fall within the Sharia compliance investment. So it's not haram, it's a halal. Okay. So if you come across with all this terminology, basically is I can say is directly related to the SDG. Okay. But what the students is nowadays they're doing, they go for they split their thesis topic according to this area, rather they compile it. Okay. So Islamic finance has always supported the purposeful investment, but now the ethical aspect of the social impact are becoming more important nowadays. Okay. So based on that, okay, I just want to share with you about what is happening in Malaysia. Okay, these are some of the example, okay, of the Malaysian case whereby some of the initiative taken by the government of Malaysia. Okay, the first is about the green sukuk, okay, or green bond for the solar projects using the Islamic instrument. Okay, this one is happened recently, last 2 years ago, whereby okay, there's one in Pahang. This one is happened in Pahang, one of the state in Malaysia, whereby this company they want to establish the solar, they want to introduce the solar projects, but what the state government is doing is that they allow them to raise the fund using the sukuk. Okay, that's why they have the green sukuk for the solar project in Pahang. Okay, so these are one of the initiative. In addition to this, they also go for the affordable house. Okay, using the Islamic instrument. Okay, so nowadays this affordable house is also some cost of the affordable house is also subsidized by the government. Okay, I think if you are in Malaysia, we have the house which is we call it as a rumah prima. Last time it was prima. Okay, whereby the house is subsidized by the government. Okay, now what happened is, in order for the people to own the house, they try to integrate with the Islamic instruments so that the people can own the house. How they can own the house is through the crowdfunding. Okay, that's the way how they do it. Okay, and then also some of the initiative taken is to support the entrepreneurial activities. This way, to support the SMEs in Malaysia. There are many initiatives taken by various banks, okay, as a part of their CSR to support the entrepreneurial activities. Like for example, we have the Bank Islam, okay, whereby Bank Islam they heavily invest, okay, some huge funds, okay, but this fund is not their profit for sure. This is for their CSR fund, okay, to support the entrepreneurial activities in Malaysia. Okay, for those who know about have you heard about Sadaqah House? I'm not sure about the Malaysian. Have you heard about Sadaqah House? Okay, you can see how they assist, okay, the SMEs in Malaysia. Okay, how they get the money is similar to our topic. Somehow it's relevant to your topics. Okay, whereby they are trying to get the financing through the donation. That's why they call it Sadaqah House. Okay, by the Bank Islam. Okay, basically they collect the money to fund their business. They go funding the what they call the education, and the last one is about the environment. Okay, and then all the Islamic banks is also adopting the VBI. Okay, value-based intimidation nowadays. Okay, even recently the Association of Islamic Banks, they released the VBI reports. Okay, this report is very important for you as a PhD students. Okay, those are doing the research. You can see the way how to what extent the Islamic banks achieve the VBI. Okay, they already come up with this is the first time they released the reports after many years. Okay, they introduced this VBI early of 2015. Now after it's about 8 years, they come up with the full report of the VBI. What is the outcome of the VBI? Okay, you can say that there are many positive achievement by the Islamic banks in Malaysia. Okay, and then also the next example is about the sukuk education. This one they issue the sukuk to support the education. Okay, some of the education sectors they are also facing the financial issues. Am I right? So how to help them to address these issues? Okay, they also issue the sukuk. Okay, all this one is happening in Malaysia. Okay, and also about the healthcare activities or projects. Okay, this is also a part of the what they call it by the Islamic banks. Okay, they also involved in financing the healthcare activities such as purchasing the equipments. Okay, they also try to help the poor people to go to get the what they call the treatment in the hospitals. Okay, this one is also they are using the concept of crowdfunding. Okay, using the concept of sadaqah donation. Okay, there are many other activities as well by the Islamic banks in Malaysia. Okay, which is directly related to the SDGs. Okay, even recently, in addition what our Prof. Gairu mentioned just now, recently we also get the project by the state government of one of the state government in Malaysia. Okay, whereby they ask us to come up with the mechanism to help the micro enterprises. Okay, and then in this project we are proposing the Islamic crowdfunding. Okay, for assisting the micro enterprises to get the financing in addition to the government funding. Okay, so when we talking about the Islamic Islamic crowdfunding, they are interested to know more details. Okay, and then towards the end we are proposing the Islamic crowdfunding based on the donation-based crowdfunding and also reward-based crowdfunding, rather than the equity or peer-to-peer. Why? Because you have to remember when we talk about the micro enterprises, their nature or scope of their businesses is very small. You cannot expect they are going to do joint venture with you. Like for example, I have my stall, okay, selling the pisang goreng, for example. I cannot joint venture with you, am I right? Because why? My scale is very small. So that's why for these micro enterprises, the most suitable one is the donation or reward-based crowdfunding. Okay, so these are some of the things that is happening in Malaysia. Okay, I can say even in Indonesia also they have already the Islamic crowdfunding. Okay, even they also issuing many sukuks. Okay, more in the very fast way. Okay, I can say. Okay, so these are some of the examples in Malaysian case. So what will be the challenges? For sure, the challenges will be there. Okay, in terms of the supply, demand. Okay, even in terms of the intermediaries. In terms of the ecosystem, okay, I can say in Malaysia we already have the nice ecosystem to support the progress of the Islamic banking finance. Okay, but still it need to be improved. Okay, that's why they come up with the idea of UBI. And then in terms of measurement, okay, this is the critical parts for the Islamic banking, how to measure it. Okay, that's why if you look at the VBI reports, try to see the way how they achieve all these what they call their projects. Okay, how they measure all the achievement. Okay, using which what they call the scales. Okay, For example, when they're talking about the helping the education, okay, how they measure, okay, to capture this education, okay. How many of you have come across this report, VBI report? No? Tak ada, eh? So you can see it's already available, VBI reports. It's about 200 pages, okay. This one released by the Association of Islamic Bank in Malaysia, okay. And also the last one is about leadership. Okay, these are some of the challenges that is facing the Islam banking finance in achieving the SDGs. So the way forward will be about that there is a need to reorient the organizational culture in Islamic financial institution by introducing maqasid values, which is related to the sustainability. It requires the radical change in thought process, which can produce innovative products that embedded with the Islamic values and principle. Okay. And then the last one is should be the legal and regulatory framework, which is supporting the those slides. Sorry, yeah. Where's the habis bateri ke? Okay. So the last one is about the legal and regulatory framework, okay, to guide and support the Islamic financial institution to create the impacts. Okay, in Malaysia, although we already have the proper legal framework for supporting the Islamic banking finance, but still it opened the room for the further improvement. Okay, so these are some of the way forward for the Islamic banking finance to achieve the SDGs. Okay, so by that, thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Okay, that's a nice presentation, Dr. Asmi from the Islamic cases sample from Malaysia. Now we will have a 15-minute discussion related to these two topics. If you want to have any questions, please, comments or questions, do not hesitate to ask to the speakers. Do we have any? Yeah, please.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Okay, yes, from Bangladesh, Kamu Nasha. All right. Well, normally this is the condition of Aceh, where the villages with the mosque officer normally they know each other. Normally in year, perhaps there are so many activities. We call it sometimes gotong royong. Gotong royong, what do you call it? Sometimes, we clean the village together. We have a Maulidur Rasul. We have many activities. And normally they will know each other much better than the bankers compared to. So in terms of character, if a person is already reluctant to get involved with the society, then it is easier to know, this guy is not trustworthy, or it is a bit difficult. Secondly, for the Jama'ah, for those who already attend 5 times regularly, inshallah, as normally as a Muslim, we know that he commits with the Islamic tradition, Islamic, worship. So having, coming for the Subuh Fajr prayer is one of the indication also. So I would like to propose that this BKM, or we call it from the officer, they will try to look at from this criteria. So in terms of character, inshallah, of course, as you said, it's not easy, because some people, when it is deal with money, the behavior becomes different. Yeah. But as the Prophet says, if you want to know you're the best of your Sahaba, then do traveling, and then let him manage the funds, and we'll see how trustworthy he is. So this is the point. But of course, my point, if you have a better understanding of the character, hopefully the potential of having problems of default payments, of asymmetric informations, inshallah we will have better conditions. So yes.
Okay, do you have any more comments? Yes, please.
Well, in terms of payment capacity, this loan is too small. Even it is, we call it for the, not the micro, it is what do you call, ultra micro. Yeah? Normally they got loans for 2 millions, which is about in ringgit, 600 ringgit perhaps. Yeah, 2 millions. 600 ringgit, yeah, 600 to 5 millions, yeah, to about 1.6 thousand of ringgit. So, of course, by observing what they are doing so far, the business that they have, and they calculated, and then also with the guidance, hopefully, when they operated their own business, it is under the control of the supervised by the most officer. Otherwise, if they are having business outside of the village, of course they have to be, they have to be transported, they have to be harnessed in terms of having financial report, and this is also not easy. This is also not easy, but of course the officer will deal with them every time. So when they collect the money, normally they collect the money, if it is on the daily basis, it's not really much. Sometimes just collect for 15,000 rupiah, which is about 4 to 5 ringgits a day. So, and the time, if they already started the business from 8 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning will be better for us, or is the best chance for us to collect the money. But if we are late, taking the collection after Zuhur, normally the money already for other purposes. For other purpose. This is what the rentenir do, and the rentenir will come at the exact point when they already sales for, having sales many things, then they come, please pay your rent or pay your loans. So payment capacity, I think, of course, is not cannot be generated, but under the supervision of the most officer, inshallah, this could be done a bit better than having not. Yeah. I think that's it.
Yeah, more questions, please? Or we have any questions for Dr. Asmi? Yeah. This is a tough question, I think. Yeah, please, Dr. Asmi, maybe you first.
Okay, thank you, Sister Amrin. Okay, I'm not sure in which angle SDG is not Islamic. Prof. Gairu, you mentioned, bro. Yeah. Okay. Okay. The measurement, maybe in terms of the measurement, maybe yes, okay. But in terms of the general concept, it's okay. But when it comes to the measurement, okay. So I know that is your topic, okay, for your PhD, okay. Okay, there are some what they call some researchers started to do some evaluation of how to deal a link between the maqasid and SDGs. There are some studies have done. Even in one of our projects, okay, even not my basically I initiate. It was from my main supervisor, Prof. Mustafa Omar, when he tried to develop the maqasid index for Islamic banking. Okay. So once he developed and then he test whatever measurement that they're using the maqasid, and then he prove it empirically. Okay. And then based on whatever he developed the indexes, okay, this one might be relevant to see whether this maqasid index can relate with the SDG or not. Even when I tested using for I also developed the maqasid index for the Islamic social finance institution, particularly zakat. Okay, based on his idea. Okay, I try to modify it. Okay, and then try to look at from the other measurements. Okay, to reflecting the maqasid, and then we found it. Okay, whatever required by the maqasid is achieved by the Islamic social finance. Actually, you can relate with the maqasid and SDGs, but the way how you measure, and then when you come up with the measurement, you have to know, you have to have some other measurement, okay, how to capture this measurement as well. That one is really need some thorough study for you to do it. This one can become as one of your thesis contributions, okay. But I can say nowadays the people start to do, even the, what they call, if you look at the IDB, okay, they come up with the reports, you can see they come up with a certain measurement, how to capture particular SDGs as well. Okay, there's a way to do it, but the way to standardize the measurement is not easy for sure, because everyone going to have a different measurement. Okay, I also agree with the Gairu. Okay, in the case of LGBT, all these things. Okay, this one we have to put away from the when it comes to the measurement. Okay, so possibility is there. Okay, that's from my answer. Okay.
Dr. Isra, maybe you want to add something? No. Okay, right. No, not my position.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Of course, maqasid Sharia is not easy to practice. It is the fact that Muslims are having sometimes some problems. Of course, I mean, sometimes we have an internal problem itself, yeah? And then we want to apply to others so that the welfare is going to be good, better. I think we need to solve our own problem first, and then we could also do some, I mean, perform maqasid has to be shown by individually first. As the Prophet says, Ku anfusikum wa ahlikum nara, so start it from yourself, your family, then community based. Thank you.
Okay, right. Thank you, Dr. Isra, for the additional comments. Another comments? Do we have any other comments for discussion? Maybe I have one question for Dr. Asmi related to the ecosystem that you mentioned before. In terms of education, the awareness of the society. Here in Aceh, if we want to have certification of, let's say, halal certification of food and beverages, we face rejection, some of rejection from the society itself, because they said, we are already Muslim, so it must be halal. Is it also applies in Malaysia, the similar rejection?
In Malaysia, when we look at the shop belongs to Muslim, we assume it's halal already. But still, we have to look at the halal certification as well. Okay, but since in Malaysia, to get the halal, I get to know recently, to get the halal logo also is not easy. It's very because of the bureaucracy in all these the government agencies, because of that. But by default, okay, whenever we look at the one who are selling is a Muslim, we know by expression, okay, we assume it's halal. But to what extent is halal? Wallahu alam. Like what the Professor mentioned, toiban, okay, toib, okay, to what extent? Chicken for sure is halal. But the way how it is slaughtered, in terms of the cleanliness, because halal is comprehensive, am I right? So that one is, we have to get some, what they call the guidelines, the what they call the policies and so on. Okay. Gairu might want to say something.
Yeah.
Recently, the Prime Minister of Malaysia, when he talked about halal, it's not just halal anymore. It has to be different. It has to be good. It has to be healthy. Yeah. In fact, we have something about
Okay, that's an interesting thing to know. So it's not only in Aceh, it's also happen in Malaysia. Yeah, yeah. I think we need to close this meeting, this discussion, because we will have another agenda for checking in hotel room. And Pak Afas, Dr. Afas, we should close this meeting. Do we have any photo session? No. Yeah. So we have a photo session for closing this meeting. Bang Zul. Ya, should we di depan atau di hadap kemana? Okay, yeah, yeah. Before we have the photo session, I think we have to close this meeting by saying Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin, and yeah, and we will move to another agenda after this.
Okay, the bus is ready to bring us to the hotel. So before that, just can have photo session here. This is the first day of you here, and then we'll move to the. Do you want to go somewhere else or no? Or just go direct to the hotel? Just to the hotel. Okay, sure. Maybe some of you will be here first. Okay, come. Yang laki-laki dulu ya. Okay, we'll divide two photo session. The male and the female, yeah. The male first. Come here, come forward in the male. Okay, Prof Weru. Prof. Okay, come the male one. Yang laki-laki dulu. Nanti baru yang perempuan ya. Okay, Pak Wimpi. Okay, come brother, come. Move and then take photo ya. Right hand di ujung ya. Nanti tunggu dulu biar warna. Yang laki-laki dulu ya. Male first and then okay, come here. Okay, in the middle. Dato Asmi.